Hello, Krist.
Hello.
Krist, my name is Higgo. Thank you very much for taking the time to chat to Triple M, mate.
Well, thanks for calling.
Hey, I've just been going through what your upcoming re-release, the 20th anniversary of this multi-formatted Monster Box Deluxe edition, and this is just an incredible amount of music.
Oh, thanks, man.
Firstly, thank you very much for the music, and congratulations on an outstanding achievement.
Oh, well, thank you. That's kind. I appreciate your kind words, Higgo.
I wanted to ask you specifically about Nirvana. Something you've said over the time is the more stupid something was, the more funny it was to us. Was that pretty much the motto of the three of you in Nirvana back in the day? You just made each other laugh?
That was about our sense of humor.
Yeah.
Like, it was just kind of a silliness and a light part of the band. And, we were watching some videos a few years ago, and there was somebody, like, in management was there, and they're like, you guys are laughing all the time. And, there's this whole mystique about Nirvana, the brooding, dark, consciousness, this and that. And it's like, well, not, seems like we had a blast a lot of times.
So that's very much a misconception about the band that people have.
I think so. I was like in a bar, and they had The Simpsons on, and I couldn't believe it. Like I was watching because I don't really watch TV, and they had this, like, it was a parody of Nirvana. Like Homer Simpson had the shirt, that green jumper that Kurt wore on Smells Like Teen Spirit, and he was in this band called Sadgasm, and I'm like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? Anyway, it's just, first of all, I couldn't believe it. Like, okay, I'm sitting in this bar, and I'm, like, watching my life on The Simpsons. Like, oh, there's the bass player. Like, I don't know. But anyway, it's just like, well, was it really, sad? There's definitely things turned out sad, but, you go back and you, like, this release of Nevermind, it's just about the music. There it is. That's what brought attention to the band. People connect with the music. The band play together well, rock, it all goes back to that, and then everything else just kind of extrapolates.
You say it's about the music, and which is a beautiful thing to hear. So how did it work with the three of you? Was there a specific songwriting process, or did the three of you just get into a rehearsal space, start jamming, find tunes you liked, and then just honed in on them?
See, we were working with Kurt, who was this artist, and he was compelled to express himself. And so if he wasn't sketching something or painting or doing sculpture, he did music. He would, bang out these tunes, compelled to say something, and come in the band, come to the band with these riffs, melody, and we just start kicking it around. Or we would just, riffs would come out of the rehearsal. We, just experiment with different ideas. And, some songs came together fast, and some songs, took a while to put together. And it was just a process of, it was being compelled, like it wasn't a chore. And that's what, you're compelled to do some kind of expression, and that's a real blessing. Like Kurt was not lazy, even though his apartment was a mess, a complete and utter. You could never get him to wash the dishes or take out the garbage, but he'd be like always doing something. He wasn't lazy, that's for sure.
So did you guys, obviously everyone draws their inspiration from stuff they're listening to at the time. Did you guys belt around, playing other people's music and then taking ideas from there, or were you particularly original, or was Kurt the one who was particularly wanted to always push the original stuff? Well,
it comes from having a knowledge of music, and I really was attracted to rock music. Like I started hang out with my father and listening to like Chuck Berry and the Beach Boys, Dick Dale, and then listening to AM radio, hit radio in the 70s, and I just stuck with it, and I was buy records, and I was really interested in music, and then it seemed like at school, like I was into these bands way before the other kids were, because I was just really interested in it, and I didn't necessarily follow what everybody else was listening to, and so I always had this like curiosity about music, which I still, have today. I own thousands of vinyl LPs. I listen to music on the internet. Kurt and I, we got into punk rock, and people were like doctrinaire about it, like I'm a punk now. I have burned all my Led Zeppelin records. They are a false god, and all who espouse them are false prophets. The new god is, punk rock. And we were like, well, no, this is good music. We love Aerosmith, Black Sabbath.
Yeah.
It's all good music. And so it kind of got all mashed up. And then there was no kind of pretension, like, the knack. Kurt even said that he was really, into the knack. And, Dave, too. Dave has a appreciation of all kind of music. And I get together with him, and he's always turning me on to things old and new. And so things came together. And it has to do with, like, love of melody. And then Kurt was always like, he would hear, I don't recall what bands we were listening to, but he'd hear a song and a tune and go, where's the song, So he had a definite idea of how to put a song together, and like, I think we all did, arrange tunes. Like, I always played for the song, like, well, what does this song need on the bass, And it's not, I guess there's a line between self-indulgence and in trying to express yourself, which sometimes I find hard to distinguish. However, I think I did a pretty good job on Nevermind. So
I think you all did, and I think that's what makes it kind of special, because it wasn't. You never really had. You never went outside what the song needed, and I think that was really important. I mean, it's 20 years ago, and it still stands up today as an album that everyone has. Everyone has your album in their collection. It must be a surreal feeling.
Well, it feels great. I'm grateful. It's a blessing. It's brought a lot of blessings. I appreciate it very much.
Can you tell me about those recording sessions, though? What was that like as a band that sort of cobbled together some money? You got the opportunity to go into a studio and work with Butch and belt out something. What was that first moment when you realized you were onto something kind of special?
I think it was Nevermind, with this release. You see the evolution of it with like those boombox recordings, with the sessions we did in Madison, Wisconsin, with Chad. They were kind of like the evolution of these songs and how we, kind of kicked them around, or not, just developed them. That's what I'm trying to say. Okay, and so I think to answer your question, it was we recorded "Smells Like Teen Spirit," and then Kurt did the vocals, and then we would show up at the studio. And we'd have like friends. We'd have like people from L7, Kirk, who played cello, and Butch would be like, "You got to hear the song." And so he would just like crank it up on the big speakers in the studio, just like right off the board. And wow, it really rocks. And so I thought, or we all thought, that maybe a song like "In Bloom" would be the hit song, because it's more of a pop song, but that wasn't the case. And so "Smells Like Teen Spirit's the first song on the record. It was just a huge hit. There's something about it. It's just it was a phenomenon.
Do you have a favorite, like a personal one that you keep close to from Nevermind? I mean, apart from
I like "Drain You" and "On a Plane." Those are good tunes.
Yeah.
"Lounge Act" is a good tune. There's a lot of variety on there, and I guess that goes back to what I was saying about just having a kind of a volume of knowledge about music, and like there was no idea behind Nirvana, like here's our idea of our band and this is how we look, or whatever. It all just kind of came together.
Yeah. Do you think that people have kind of tried to over analyze what you did? Because to me, it's kind of like,
absolutely.
Yeah. To me, it just seems like it was three blokes in the studio, just getting in there and rocking out.
Yeah, you nailed it, Higgo. It's just like, yeah, that's it, and it's just like there's all kinds of this sociological imagination, and
yeah,
I hear people come up to me. It's like, Krist, the Nevermind changed my life. It's like, wow, well, thank you very much. Well, when I was coming of age, there were records like, Generic Flipper, Black Flag, classic rock records, Black Sabbath. They changed my life. So, I've been there, okay? So it's just part of the human experience, this phenomenon of music and how we react to it, and everything else just, there's the individual in our society, and then there's these forces come together, and music is a part of that, and for some reason we react to it, and it's neat, and it's like a miracle, really.
It seems even 20 years on, you still seem to be a little bit flabbergasted by the success that it's achieved and the impact that it's had on other people.
Yeah, for better or for worse, yeah. You think that I would be like, I'm famous. And
no, it seems like you're extremely grounded and humbled by the whole thing, which is, I have to tell you, it's pretty refreshing.
Yeah, because I hope I'm grounded, but I try to be humble about it, or to put it in perspective. Again, it's a neat thing, and it's it all boils back to the music, but there's a big story there, and I can't ignore it and what happened with the band, and so you just have to. You accept it, and then how you rationalize it, or you look back on it. I guess every individual has their own experience, myself included. I've got to play with Kurt. I played with Dave. That's great.
Yeah. I've had the pleasure of sitting down with Dave for a bit of a chat when they came out here to do that Wasting Light on the Harbour, the big gig they did in Sydney. And it seems that there's a common theme running through, not only having spoken to him, but to you, that this is exactly what it's all about, and the music. And I want to just ask you, I think it's almost an impossible question to answer, because you've told me you've got thousands of vinyl LPs kicking around. Do you have that one album or that one genre that you go back to every time? Like for me, it's Queen, News of the World. That album, when I'm in a rut, I just go back to that album.
It just depends on what's on my turntable. I like MIA, and it's just, she's caught on to something. It's compelling. It's got energy. I like Patsy Cline, too.
Okay.
It just kind of depends. I have thousands of records, and so I'll just go up there and just kind of grab a few and put them on and get pulled into the music. And that's the new paradigm now, too, is like with technology. It's like used to be the powers, the media would push things on people. And now you got to pull people in, because everybody's like, everything's so diversified. Everybody's got their little pocket gizmo, text messenger, camera. It's like pulling people in, and so that's what music has done for me. And even that's what good art, what I believe good art should be, is like it pulls you into its own world. If you look at a painting, or you're reading something, or somebody's expressing it, and then they invite you into their world, and like, wow, that's it. That's what art, and that's why it's compelling, And so if you're listening to News of the World by Queen, it just pulls you in, and there's that, there's like Brian May's guitar tone, which is like he's a Baroque guitarist, electric, doesn't that sound Baroque?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think that was one of the things that sucked me in. My brother had it on LP. He's 12 years older than I am, and I opened that gatefold, and it's got, of course, the big mechanical monster reaching through the roof and grabbing the crowd, and that just sucked me straight in.
Yeah, and they're like falling, like, ah.
Yeah.
The band is like falling, like, yeah. You're like, what kind of song is that? I'm sure the label heard that, like, what the fuck are you guys doing? What is this? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What is this soccer cheer, Yeah. And it's just like, but it's like, it just pulls you in, it invites you inside. Yeah, and then you painted this image of this, like, monster robot, huge. It's like it's eating your mind is what it's doing.
Oh, man, it's just such a good album.
That's what, like, being in a band and music is like, you should have an enthusiasm about music, It's like...
Now, if we can just go back a little bit here, you did give up music for a little while there after Nirvana. Could you briefly tell me what made you do that?
I was in a band, Sweet 75, and it was just hard. It wasn't working. Touring was a drag for me. And so it's just like, again, I have so many blessings. It's like, why am I in this rest stop in the middle of Oklahoma? I mean, God bless Oklahoma. You know what I mean? Or just like, gee, I'm in Buffalo again. You know what I mean? And I guess I have this. I live a life of luxury here, and I don't live in my house isn't very big, and I live in the foothills of Southwest Washington, and so I just, again, like to be self-indulgent or whatever. I could do whatever I want to do, and so that's what I do. But I can't quit music. Like I guess I quit the music industry, but not particularly successful after Nirvana. And like, I just quit it or walked away. It's like, no, it's more complicated than that. It's just kind of drifted away from it. But I never quit music, so I play like guitar every day. I play like a fingerstyle acoustic guitar, And that's what I'm compelled to do. I've got some YouTube videos if you want to hear what I'm doing. It's Zippy One Avion is my channel on YouTube, and so you can hear some of the music. And I did, Australia is. I'm always happy to speak with folks from Australia. One of the things that I do is, like, United States, there's a lot of reactionary politics. There's really no kind of formulated ideologies. And so I developed this, my politics are I call them transformational, And so what I'm doing is I'm promoting the idea of association, political association in the United States, which we don't, we have these centralized. Anyway, I'm getting too much into politics, but the single transferable vote. The single transferable vote is what I'm pushing, because it accommodates association. The United States, there's a concentration of power, special interests. They own the national and the legislature, state houses, what have you. So if a more advanced, like Australian, preferential ballot, which accommodates, association, I think would be better off.
Like a first, second, and third preference thing.
Yeah.
Cool.
Not necessarily compulsive voting, but just kind of a preference thing. Yeah.
Quickly though, how are your combis? Have you still got them? I do
the Bugs now, Beatles.
Oh, okay.
I got three of them. I tinker on them. It's irrational obsession. My brother-in-law, we're tinkering on them. Air-cooled VW, Combi. Don't have no Combis right now. They're hard to find anymore, but they're out here on the west coast of the United States because of the climate.
Yeah.
But yeah, I got three Bugs, Beatles. I drive them every day. So it's just nostalgia. Hey, you can bust me for nostalgia.
Krist, thank you very much for your time, and I hope we get to chat again, because there's so much more to talk about.
Absolutely, man. What a pleasure.